thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. Our team have worked hard, I suppose this is a first for us, our team have worked hard to create a good panel of speakers with interesting topics. As you know, there's CPD certified topics. You have 5 certificates for today. You can collect your certificates at the end of the conference at the registration desk. A little bit of housekeeping, if I may. Regarding mobile phones, if you could put your mobile phones to silent, we'd appreciate it. We will have time during the day for you to be able to take your voicemails or make return calls. Regarding emergency exits, please take note of your nearest emergency exit. In an unlikely event of an emergency, please make your way to the nearest, safest exit if possible. I'd like to take this opportunity as well to thank all the supporters and sponsors of the event today. They made it a reality for us. And if I may be cheeky and request politely that you support those businesses where possible. I want just a little bit about Heat Merchants Group. Some of you may know us. What we're trying to do, and you'll probably see it today, we're trying to differentiate Heat Merchants from other merchants. We want to be a solutions provider to the Irish marketplace. And today is just giving you a taste of the solutions that we can provide. We're an Irish business, 100% owned Irish business. We have 43 locations nationwide across 3 brands, which is Heat Merchants, Tubs and Tiles and Tile Joints. In our branches, we're staffed with experts. We have experts local to practically every project in Ireland. With 43 locations, we're very local. That offers opportunities that typically you wouldn't get from normal distribution businesses in Ireland. By having experts local, we can attend sites very quickly to help with technical advice or any issues or product support you need. Also, a unique selling point for Heat Merchants is that we can stock product locally for your project. We can mitigate against the normal risks that are associated with having product on site, but also we can benefit cash flow on projects as well, because we invoice and usage, so very simple things. Recently, we've established a technical design team, which is a first for Heat Merchants. They're staffed by qualified engineers, and those guys and girls are going to be there to help support you with your projects, your product selection, and any after-sales queries you may have as well. So, I'm talking quickly because I'm conscious that we're running behind schedule, so I'd be glad that I'll not talk too much more. But finally, I'd like to thank you all again for being here today. Again, thank our sponsors. The cheeky request is please consider Heat Merchants for your next project as a solution provider. And I just want to introduce our chair then for today. Jeff Colley, you might know Jeff. He's the editor of Passive House Plus magazine. Jeff, I've known for many years. He's also received the Green Leader Award in 2010, was it Jeff? Known Jeff has been a very strong advocate for best practice both in the energy and construction sectors in Ireland. And he's probably recognised as being an expert across all the topics that we're talking about here today. So it's with great pleasure that I introduce Jeff as our chairperson for today. So thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks, Alan, for your kind but ultimately misrepresentative words, which I'll go on to demonstrate now. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, architects, engineers, tradespeople, merchants, public sector workers, suppliers. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here today. I'm the publisher, as Alan was saying, of Passive House Plus magazine, a sustainable building mag with a particular focus on robust, truly low energy building and upgrading. Passive House Plus actually evolved from Construct Ireland, a sustainable building mag I launched in 2003. We decided to rebrand and expand the mag in 2012, and we now publish separate Irish and UK editions with Passive House Plus, and we're official partners of the International Passive House Association. I'm honoured that Alan has asked me to chair this conference and to give me the chance to contribute to what is a timely and critical discussion on how our construction industry can rebuild itself and Ireland on sustainable foundations. I have to say I had difficulty preparing these words because talking about sustainable building can be tricky. It can easily descend at any moment into anarchy of the highest order, as I'll no doubt go on to demonstrate. So working in this sector and having become so engrossed in the minutiae of the subject matter, it's easy to forget that not everyone necessarily feels this enthusiasm. I suspect this room probably more so than most, but I don't take that for granted. But I'm always fearful, though, I have to say, of coming across like, I don't know if any of you saw the episode of Father Ted, the famous kind of Irish comedy with Father Austin Purcell, the man who Ted describes as the most boring priest in the world, who lectures Jack in his storeroom, Father Jack, on the virtues of his heating system. His words are entirely inappropriate today and not applicable, but that's never stopped me before. So he says they have no morals and no respect for human life, but what they do have, and no one can deny this now, they have the finest collection of boilers in the world, and I include Canada in that. Now, I wouldn't dare create the cognitive dissonance of simultaneously insulting and flattering Alan and his team at Heat Merchants by suggesting that these words apply to them. I will say that their growing efforts in terms of corporate social responsibility are a world away from the cliched image of an order-taking merchant with little or no regard for the quality of product or service they provide and the performance of the resultant building. And while I'm not well placed to appraise if they do truly objectively possess the finest collection of boilers in the world, I have to say that their product offering across the range of sustainability solutions is becoming increasingly aggressive. I don't doubt that Alan's inner anorak, if you can imagine such a concept, is a great help in this regard. It's very rare to find a managing director of a company of this nature with such a detailed technical knowledge and enthusiasm for the technologies that the company sells. But I think it's critical that companies like Heat Merchants and its many innovative suppliers help fulfill this technical role, as the industry is really in for a shock when it comes out of hibernation. Our building regulations in Ireland, particularly with regard to energy efficiency for new homes, are unrecognisable from what passed muster during the boom. On paper, Ireland appears to have an awful lot right, at least in terms of energy specs for new homes. According to Technical Guidance Document L 2011, all new homes must be designed to consume 60% less energy and emit 60% less carbon than homes built towards the tail end of the boom. Typically this means an A2 to an A3 BER depending on the house type. And there's also a requirement, as I'm sure many of you know, to generate renewable energy, prescribed amounts of renewable energy. But calculated and actual performance can differ wildly for a variety of reasons, and we shouldn't assume that homes with calculated energy performance in line with the guidance document's requirements will actually perform at those levels. Sadly, we've no reason to expect this to be the case. For its part, the British government recognises that a significant performance gap exists between designed and actual energy use of notionally low energy buildings in the UK. And although its regulations are much worse than ours on paper, Britain has pledged to eliminate this gap, pledging that by 2020, 90% of all new homes will perform as well or better than design, which is a hell of a target, with substantial detailed analysis ongoing at present to establish the cause of this gap. And our government would do well to start kind of acting on these kinds of concerns too. So this is in spite of the fact that the only data we have, SEAI's 2005 Energy Performance Survey of Irish housing revealed widespread non-compliance with parts L, F and J, the energy-related parts of building regulations during the boom, and showed that actual energy consumption of homes built to 1997 regs was 16% higher than homes built to previous weaker regulations, which seems utterly counterintuitive. Based on calculated ratings, the homes built after 1997 are meant to be 41% more efficient than those built in the baseline period in the study, which is 1961 to 1980, largely due to the gradual improvement of regs since 1979, what were first voluntary regulations. However, the theory isn't borne out in reality. According to the study, of the nominal 41% reduction in heat energy demand, only about 1/3 is realised as reduced fuel consumption, the report states, speculating that there could be a variety of reasons for this, including higher expectations of buildings, higher income perhaps for people in the newer homes, but also a decline in actual construction standards during the boom. So, construction output dramatically increased during the boom, we know this, and I would hazard a guess that this is certainly a factor. So it's therefore, I suppose, unsurprising that houses built during the boom had higher energy bills than older houses. A decline in standards on site might was inevitable given the growing output. It's an unprecedented growth in the industry. An industry where most builders have never met a building control inspector. I know that's starting to change, but we may be starting from a much lower base after the recession, but we must take great care to ensure that the growth in construction activity doesn't come at the expense of the quality of construction. It may be that the building control amendment regulations means that professionals aren't prepared to sign off on what they perceive to be non-compliant buildings. But really I think this is an important point. I contend that it's possible to satisfy the guidance documents and therefore show prima facie compliance with regulations and still produce a building that fails. And for our part, we're at the magazine, we're very aware of our responsibility to our readers in this regard, and if our readers are going to continue to use us as a reference source to work out what decisions to take on design and construction specification and detailing the buildings, we have to take great care to ensure that the information we publish stands up insofar as we can. This level of attention to detail is unusual for a publisher. It even means that we turn down advertising on occasions, which I can tell you hurts. And I'm not saying we get it 100% right all the time, but when readers use the information we publish to help determine how they build, we feel we must do our utmost to steer them to what we believe on the balance of evidence to be the right decision. So really, it's critical that we as an industry, we don't just take a tick box approach to compliance, but actually design and construct buildings that work. Buildings underpinned with sound theoretical basis and strong empirical evidence of actual performance. Part of the reason Mike Wetton we rebranded our MAG was because of our conviction that the passive house approach offers a tried and tested route to delivering ultra-low energy, healthy, robust buildings. Now, we're not saying that everyone should build a passive house, but we do think that we all have a lot to learn from these sort of principles and rigor that underpins this approach. As an industry, we must embrace the sorts of technical presentations that we'll hear today, and we must use them to spark a discussion between suppliers, designers, trades, clients and policymakers, so that the buildings we build as the economy recovers actually endure, and so that any building boom that emerges leaves a positive impact on Ireland's building stock, and so that the Irish construction industry has the skill set necessary to flourish in the 21st century.